All right, welcome. Thank you for coming. Today we are going to talk about sphere marketing. And so what I really want to talk about is just, all right, this month, like practically in the next month, how can we get more deals from our sphere of influence? Not just long term, I think you guys understand it at a high level, but it's, all right, like in the next month, what are some things that we can do in order to get more deals from our sphere of influence? Yes, this is the guy bigger than so. This is Thomas. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about just generally from sphere marketing, I've said this quite a few times, but I want to touch on some general stuff and then get a little bit more focused. So the general stuff to keep in mind, in my opinion, with your sphere of influence is the way to win and get deals from your sphere of influence is at any given time, your sphere needs to know two things. They need to know that you're in real estate, and they need to know that you're good at your job. It needs to be both of those things. If they just know that you're in real estate, but they're not sure that you're good at your job, they might not work with you. And that's why sometimes we lose some of our deals to other people. Not just because they knew I'm an agent. What the heck? I thought they knew that I was in real estate. Yeah, sometimes they know you're in real estate, but work with someone else because they don't know if you're actually good at your job or not, right? So the whole point is, and the know you're in real estate, it has to be at all times. Meaning, at any given moment when they think real estate, you have to be the first person that they think of. Because if you're not, they may start that real estate process without you. Yeah, grab from this. Yeah, this one right here.
You're late, you don't get to make it.
Yeah, closed door. Seats are taken.
Seats taken.
Seats taken.
Seats taken.
So the primary way to accomplish that, in my opinion, is you need to stay in touch with them. They need to somehow see constantly that you're in real estate and that you're good at your job. Thus, 36 touch campaign. That's sort of what Keller Williams invented the 36 touch campaign for. That is meant to be the vehicle, the plan, the way that you accomplish. At any given moment, they know that you're in real estate and they know you're good at your job. The key is in a marketing plan, any type of marketing plan, the key is empathy. So the key is to put yourself in your sphere's shoes and to say, how would I want to be kept up to date about Gigi being a real estate agent and being good at her job without being annoyed, right?
Over Jello shots.
Right, Jello shots. Jello shots 36 times a year. 3 times a month. So that's the key. That's the premise that we're working on. And so anytime I try to give you guys thoughts or advice on how are we going to do this, how are we going to do this, that's the premise. I want to stay in touch with them and show that I'm good at my job. Now, here's the key that I want to spend a little bit of time brainstorming. What are some ways that we show that we are good at our job? What are some non-annoying ways that we show we're good at our job? Hint, hint, it's not to say, Thomas, I'm really good at real estate, so.
That works. But in person, I can do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Funny.
Have you ever sold a house? No, but I'm really good.
I'm really
the more
good.
than half excellence.
Yeah.
Funny closing videos or posts or funny showing the things that happen.
Mhm. Yep. So you said funny closing videos, funny showing videos. That's what I would call proof of production.
Yeah.
So any proof of production, proof that I'm actually closing deals, proof that I'm actually getting listings, proof that I'm actually going on showings, proof that I actually have appointments with buyers, proof of production.
All that on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, really, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Snapchat works really well.
Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, in any of those is a great medium for that. It's just proof of production. I am actually doing real estate. I'm actually doing business. And you said funny. primarily because I think what you're trying to accomplish with that is I don't want to like feel it like it's braggadocious, or I don't want to feel like I'm like annoying with this. It's like, look at me, I closed another deal, so happy to make a lot of money. It's more like, man, I love the story of this closing. It's really like when you're talking to your sphere, it's more about documenting than it is about creating content. Like that, thankfully, our social media world, people are used to the idea of just documenting your life. So it's not weird for you to just take a picture of Starbucks on the outside and say, meeting a client here this morning. Got to get my coffee or whatever, you know what I mean? Nice. Or just taking a picture of Starbucks and saying, or your Starbucks that you bought saying, fuel for my day, #real estate or whatever,
So glad I don't work here anymore.
Yes, so glad I don't work. I still work here, but I don't work here.
Hey, that's you.
There you go. That's you. So that's first and foremost. So that's one idea, making notifications like that. What are other ways that you communicate that you are good at your job without being annoying?
Team events.
Team events. So in my opinion, when you say, hey, my team, and I want you guys to all own that. This is my team. This is Thomas's team. This is David's team, right? It is. I want you guys to own that to your spirit. My team is having this event. We'd love for you to come. And in my opinion, that's you're staying in touch. Like when you say my real estate team is having this event, you're reminding them I'm in real estate. But I think subconsciously, when you are hosting this big event and inviting them for free, you're also subconsciously communicating, oh man, things must be going well if they're buying Rockies tickets for 400 people, or things must be going well if they're have this big movie and all this stuff out here and puppies. They got puppies. They must be doing really well.
Puppy pool.
They got puppies. So yes, so events, and that is why our 36 Touch campaign is just built on 4 events a year, because it really feels like that is a center of something that is a non-annoying way to stay in touch. So I agree with that. Yeah, what else? What are other ideas? Ways to communicate. You're good at your job. Let them know you're in real estate without being annoying.
Bentley.
With a Bentley, as they said. Drive around a super nice car. Yeah.
So I take some of my mom friends out to coffee, or like we have a play date kind of thing, and I treat the whole time, which kind of shows like a level of success, I feel like. And then they inevitably ask me, like, how's your job going? Because I ask about them, so it leads to a conversation.
Yeah, that's great. That's another thing that is a subtle nuance, but another way to tell someone you're in real estate and you're good at your job is simply talking with them and that's one thing, buying them things. I think that's one. But the other thing is a way to be able to tell them that you're in real estate is asking them about themselves, right? And that's what you said.
They're gonna want to ask you about you.
Exactly. A good friend, like your VIPs, the people that actually care about you, when you say, hey, Gigi, how's work going? And you start talking about work, and if you're a good friend, you'll ask me that question back. Yeah. And then I could say, real estate's going awesome. I love helping buyers and sellers, blah, 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 blah. And 9 times out of 10, they'll ask a follow-up question because real estate is interesting, right? If I'm like some data analyst or whatever, then they might not follow up and ask follow-up questions.
How's accounting going?
Yeah. How's the numbers? They still interesting, or how's the crunching going? Yeah, awesome. But that's the reality, though. Like, not everyone has a job where people want to ask follow-up questions about their job because it's interesting, and we do. So simply just going around and being intentional about, hey, how's work going, knowing that they'll ask you back. That's good. That's great. What else? What else?
I think kind of like to touch back to Tuesday, like when they see you investing and doing your own thing, the deals that you're getting, the houses you're flipping, I think that also shows that success. That you are smart and savvy enough for yourself. You must be smart and savvy for them too.
So not just proof of real estate production, proof of personal wealth or personal wealth building or personal real estate success can show, hey, I'm trying to model for you how you can buy an investment property or how you can do this. That's great. And that's good.
Another one is it's painstaking sometimes, but sending out CMAs to all of your sphere at tax time just to evaluate their property taxes. It's just that value proposition.
Yeah, so that was going to be one of the next categories I was going to say is that what we haven't even touched on is this entire category of like giving information and value related to real estate. That That is a way. Now, the caveat, how do I do that in a non-annoying way?
Right.
Empathy. Give them information that's valuable to them, that matters to them. If I own a house, I would never be annoyed by a personalized CMA that tells me what my home is worth. There's no way I would be annoyed by that. And so like when we as a team send out an email to everyone's sphere at the beginning of this month saying interest rates are at a near historic low, whether you want to refi or buy or whatever, you should know this.
Is that true?
That's value. That's what we did. Yeah.
I need one. I need one right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
Thanks.
Zero down refi, mortgage.
Yeah. Keller Mortgage. I would look into it.
My bud's doing it right
Yeah. There's a lot of people refining right now because rates are crazy low. Especially, yeah.
Because we have a 4%, but yeah, if we
You have 4%. You could probably, I mean, that's right at the marker of like may or may not make sense because that's a pretty good rate. But you could probably get I would bet you might be able to get 3.5, 3.75.
I get 3.9.
Yeah.
Well, we could get 3.5 and then we could drop our mortgage insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of the thing.
We seriously just refied earlier this year and refied 2.4% earlier this year, and now we could refi again and drop it to 3.5 or something crazy like that. Yeah. So, but that's the point. Like, we just assume people know that stuff, and they don't. Like, and so we as agents sometimes don't even know that, right? So
Yeah.
of course
How do you guys find that out?
of course the sphere.
Let Andrew know that I don't know.
Yeah. That's part of it. Hopefully the team's value is just staying on top of industry trends and stuff for you guys so that we can let you know that when that's happening. But yeah, so this is a whole other category. Providing information that's valuable to them is another way to communicate you're in real estate. You're good at your job because you're providing valuable information. So what are some other categories? So you said CMA. I said email about interest rates. What are some other things that fall into that category of like giving them information, real estate related, that's valuable and not annoying?
That, like, I'm not even looking at those emails that I'm getting, that my sphere is getting. And so like, if I look at it, I can then make a follow-up call and say, hey, did you guys see this? Interest rates are low. We emailed you about this, and then kind of have that conversation. So just like reminding me that that's another way to, another excuse to make a phone call.
Yeah, that's good.
How do we get those? Do we just set ourselves up as a boomtown sphere?
So set yourself up in Boomtown, tag yourself local Met. And if you're like me, I get my emails from David because apparently he has me in Boomtown. So,
You're welcome. I'm on top of shit.
I go through the onboarding rotation. So the latest person that I've onboarded at that stage that's who I get my sphere touches from. That's good.
I would say like home maintenance for the quarter.
That's what I was thinking about.
What needs to be done before it snows?
Because I don't even know that, but like.
Ooh, a light bulb. Hold on.
My brain just, thank you.
Welcome, Natalia. Welcome to the training. She's here.
It's been a long week. Football magnets.
Football magnets. Yeah, so that kind of moves into the.
And then I get to pester my people and be like, give me your address.
Sure.
In a
Sure.
way.
So that
Yeah,
becomes
so
like a
it's-
community information type of stuff, right? Like I'm providing information on maybe sports teams they want, information on local free days at museums and parks, or like festivals or pumpkin patches or whatever, like information that they would find valuable. The key is, does your sphere care about that, right? And so then it's just the empathy of like, would I want a magnet? Oh, I would. Okay, great. Then like I'll send it out. And if not, then don't send it out. But yeah, I liked what you said as well. Home maintenance. I think that's huge. That's going to become a big part of how we act as fiduciaries and add value to homeowners, not just potential buyers and sellers.
Let's keep your house in good shape.
Yeah, exactly. Let's let you know about maintenance. Let's also make sure I have a list of people I can connect you to. So you need your furnace cleaned, or you need whatever, like I got a guy. You need someone to take a look at your electrical, just make sure everything's good. I got a guy.
Just happened, we got a roofer.
Yeah, we got a roofer. Exactly. So stuff like that, staying on top of that value.
Do you have the Homekeeper? Are you on Homekeeper? So it's a free thing, yeah, and it's online as well. And so they send me an email every week or whatever, and they say, here's the home maintenance tip. And it's a way that you can set your clients up to actually get the same emails, like monthly newsletter kind of about that, for home maintenance based on the time of year. And it's just, it's not really a set it and forget it kind of thing, but I mean, I pull those, sometimes I'll pull them. and that's it. Yep. I'll sometimes pull those and put them on my website for the KW website, and then link that to the Facebook thing, and then that way maybe I can try to get people to see that.
Yeah, okay.
But I feel like it has helped me add a little bit of value.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Just branded to you personally.
And by the way, like that, and a lot of this, what we're talking about, is a big part of like the consumer app that they're creating at Keller Williams. They really want it to be end-to-end platform. What they mean by that is no matter what stage of the process someone in your sphere is at, whether it's I've never bought a home, I'm buying a home, I'm just looking at properties, I'm under contract, I just closed, or I've owned a home for 3 years, they want to create an app that somehow adds value to them at that stage of the process. And so that would include stuff like home maintenance tips, referring vendors, automatically notifying them when interest rates are at a point where it makes sense for them to refi, things like that. So
I think Homekeepers are like KW vendors.
it is.
When you guys are thinking about a marketing plan for the year, you guys kind of plan out, like, are you going to plan out Q4, what 2020 is going to look like, and what those touches are going to be on a month-to-month basis?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we Q4 or very beginning of Q1, we finalized the year's touches. So we finalized the events, and then we'll have like a newsletter go out every single month. But the newsletter is kind of the vehicle for some of this stuff. So that newsletter will throw in a cool client story, proof of production. We'll throw in a frequently asked question, value on something people might need help with. We'll throw in like community information, so like something local that's coming up that they should know about. And then sometimes we'll throw in like a little bit of blurb about interest rates or about we're hiring for somebody or whatever. So
it's like a big changing post, the client story.
Mm-hmm. So that's what our newsletters will push out every single month look like. And then we'll try to push out an item of value every single quarter as well. So that might be market update, that might be interest rate, that might be Broncos magnets, might be something like that. But we try to do that once a quarter on top of everything else. And that's generally what the 36 Touch campaign from us looks like. And then we'll sprinkle in other one-off stuff like, hey, we're hiring for agents and ISAs. That's an email that just went out this past week, or it was in our newsletter. Hey, we're hiring for agents and ISAs. So if you've ever thought about a job in real estate, let us know. Or if you know anyone, let us know. Sprinkle in stuff like that.
Also, pretty good at this, but I try to be at birthday cards.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we send out anniversary cards or like something because my clients thank me for them.
Yep.
And I'm like, you're welcome. But like that, and then like I had a client who lost a pet, and so I sent them a card for that and just different things, like just kind of keeping up on Facebook with people and what you see.
Yep. And I think it's okay to like have some of your touches are not necessarily about communicating, I'm in real estate, I'm good at my job. Some of your touches are just like, I care about you. And it's just building that relationship. And so the key is don't make every touch that, or else they may not know you're in real estate. You're just a great friend. And that's good. That might not help your pocketbook, but that's good.
We talked about that in the beginning.
But I think the other key is not make everything real estate related. Like it would be really stupid for me to give them a call and say, hey, are you coming to this event if I know for sure that they have some terrible family thing going on and they're in the hospital or something like that. Like if I'm on top of just staying in touch with who they are, and sometimes you can't help that. Sometimes you just don't know. But if you know, like if you care enough about those VIPs, then you can reach out with a different touch, So that makes sense. Yeah. That's good. Okay. What other, are there other like adding information, giving them stuff?
I'd be curious to what you guys would think about this. I've seen this in other places, but just like a blog that has those kinds of things. Maybe that reflects some of the content from our newsletters, but might be something as a team that we.
So you guys don't know this, but we do have a blog. We have had a marketing person updating it with content from our newsletters. We just have done a poor job of letting you guys know we have that.
Perfect.
So one thing that Andrew's been working really hard this year is building out a lot of that like marketing equity and a lot of these kind of little channels that maybe we notice, maybe we don't notice. We've been hesitant to blast it out because we're still building it up. But pretty much every newsletter that happened this year has become a blog post. And then there's other stuff that has become that has been shared on our Relevate Denver page for anyone that likes that as value adds and touches that is becoming blog posts. We've been building out a blog this year that I'll need to have Andrew let me know how you guys can get people to that or reference people to that. The best way that you guys can really make sure people are connecting with valuable information is liking our Relevate Denver page, because we're being a lot better about being consistent with posting stuff there that's actually valuable. So making sure people are liking that Relevate Denver page will be a good way to make sure they're getting links to those blog posts that we're creating.
When you say page, you mean Facebook?
The Facebook page.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
You should probably like it.
Yeah, you probably should. Probably should.
Tyler Shields was here.
Tyler Shields, elevating lives through real estate.
And that probably just helps too, just simple check-ins, you know, at Relevate KW today.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Yep.
Well, I think it helps too, because if we like each other's pages and you guys share like one of our open houses, like, hey, look at one of our awesome agents doing whatever, then I think we get more exposure that way because we like each other. Then they cross.
Yep. Okay, so I want to take this whole conversation to a next level. So, so we're going to elevate.
We're going to elevate the relevation.
We're going to relevate. All right, so.
That's enough.
So the graphic I wanted to show you was going to speak to this, and I don't have it, so I apologize. But yeah, the first step is for you kinesthetic learners. I'll act it out. So the first step is information, which is a lot information and some value, offering services and things like that. So a lot of what we've talked about is simply information, simply letting the client know who we are. Some of it is adding value about community events or things like that. But ultimately, what we need to accomplish with our sphere is not just that they know we're in real estate, not just that they know we're good at our job, not just that we're staying in touch, but we need to be a true fiduciary for them. We need to be working in their financial best interest. The reality is technology is coming after information. Technology is coming after providing the interest rate notifications and showing them cool properties for sale and things like that. What technology is not going to be able to come after is you helping them to synthesize that information and making recommendations and suggestions and advice to them, right? So you being a fiduciary and taking it to the next step is exactly what Bridget said about, all right, I saw that interest rate email. I processed it. I actually read it. And then I went and called the 20 people that I know have a higher interest rate than that and made sure that they understood, hey, you got that email, but is your interest rate's higher than 4%, right? Because I remember when we bought and it was higher then. You need to go look into Keller Mortgage because you could save hundreds of dollars a month. You need to go do this. And so it's beyond just giving the information in a marketing way. We need to take it beyond marketing and have it say, no, we need to use all this information, these marketing touches, to be a fiduciary, to give advice, to make suggestions. And so Thomas and I were talking about this yesterday. He asked about, well, what about like investors? Is that a good route to go in terms of your business? And I clarified, you're talking about fix and flips, or you're talking about rental investors? He's like, rental investors, like how do you find people that are looking to buy rentals? And I said, the best way to build your business around people looking to buy rentals is to turn your sphere into investors. Is to go make those recommendations to your sphere and say, hey, do you have an extra $30,000 lying around? Because if you do, maybe it's just in the equity in your house. But if you have an extra $30,000 lying around in equity in your house, let's pull it out. Let's go buy a $150,000 condo that I can cash flow, and you're building wealth for your family, right? So I think that those are examples of ways that we can be a fiduciary. We can take the information to the next level and give advice. But again, I want to take a little time. Let's brainstorm what are ways in which we can take that information to the next level and actually be giving advice or leveling up beyond just giving information to people in our sphere.
Something, I don't know if it's directly related to that, but as you're talking about even pulling money out of the equity, I think it's important to note that because property values have still been going up, that aside from just saving on the interest rate, chances are I'd probably save on MI too, which is only going to drop it even further. Most people already forget that they're paying that. So I think just for that purpose of maybe the rate's not super better, but you're going to save that MI right off the bat no matter what.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we're trying to refinance is because for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's an example of that? So an example of that would be if the interest rates are low, you tell them, hey, you should go refinance, not just because of interest rate, but you might also be here, right? Or another example of that would be, in your previous example, I sent out a CMA, but instead of just sending out a CMA, I sent it out, I followed up and I said, hey, did you see that? I want to make sure you know what this means. What this means is you are now at 80-20 value and you can refi and drop off your mortgage insurance or you can whatever, right? So that's the next level of like the advice where we're truly being a fiduciary and keeping that client for life. That's where technology is not going to steal our sphere, basically. Yeah, what else? Next level advice. Elevate.
Being intentional about your interactions with your sphere, right? So not just like kind of in the same realm, but not just like sending them a happy birthday message, but I know that Sean sends like happy birthday videos, you know, of him singing happy birthday, which maybe it's just his fan.
I've done that a couple times, but only to a few people.
Yeah, or just like some like an actual intentional message, right? Like, hey, I was just driving by your neck of the woods and thought about you. Like, how are things going? You know, how's the something, right? Like,
so that's a good call. And I think what you're suggesting is, consciously or subconsciously, that there's another category. It's not just making advice, but also it's the deeper relationship stuff that technology is not going to be able to solve. And that's a little bit of what Bridget said earlier, like knowing birthdays or knowing that stuff. And you're saying like, yeah, take it a step further, like send them a video or send them a whatever. I think that's great. That's awesome. I think that's another good call out is just that deeper touch on relationship is valuable. I think that's important. That's why we have that quarterly touch in your 36 touch campaign, because it's meant to say, hey, did you do some type of deeper touch relationally with this person in the past 90 days? And all I'm saying is do it once every 90 days on top of everything else that we're doing, and that should be enough. But if you could do it once every 90 days, you'll be standing out.
So a deeper touch every 90 days.
And the sphere drip campaign
Like
calls for that.
shots.
So it'll remind you.
Okay, that's
It'll remind
going
you
to be
that.
kind of my question.
Deep tissue.
Yeah, I just give deep tissue massage.
I just literally just give them massages. Yeah.
You're not allowed to be in my sphere.
Don't worry. It's not you guys. Do it.
Great, glad you kicked my butt.
That's funny.
So I feel like, or can you say something?
No, I was just saying, all I can think right now is of the investors and kind of the refis and some of that. Maybe if you're suggesting like, maybe not just from an investor standpoint, but just quality of life, where it's like, hey man, like I know you guys have been wanting to get up in the mountains and have a condo up there, like that might be a good time to look at that. Even if you're splitting it with someone else, like also thinking about like vacation type.
I think that would be good too, like what you were saying, like find a realtor in Branson that's a KW, you know, that you could say like, there you go. That you could say like, you know, hey, have you ever thought of a vacation rental or an Airbnb that you can use? And maybe they don't want to buy in Colorado because their prices are too high. Maybe they would want to buy in Arizona or somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think the premise of that, of what you guys just said there, is one really important thing, which is we have to be asking our sphere what their real estate goals are. Like we should just be asking them bluntly. Like I get that you just bought this house, but like long term, like what are your real estate goals? Let's dream. And like here's what I've learned about this business that you guys should apply to your sphere. You may need to help them dream bigger. Like you may need to help them think bigger. Most people are just kind of like, well, I don't know. I guess when I'm sick of this house or we need more space, we'll buy the next one. And it's like, have you realized like an investment property is realistic for you? You could buy a property up in the mountains with the equity you have right now. Like, why not? And so I think, or just helping them to say, yeah, you know what? I would like to own a vacation home someday. And it's like, all right, well, what would it look like to do that 3 years from now? What would have to happen?
What do you need to do? How do you need to change your quality of life, right?
I had that same talk with a VA buyer the other day. He didn't want to buy because like I think I'm only gonna end up being here for 2 years. And so I remembered, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but next year VA limits drop off. And And so I
You
told him,
know,
I
be
said, well,
able-
bro, why wouldn't you buy a house here? Because best case scenario is now that you don't have limits, as long as you can still afford your payment, you can buy wherever you go next, hold on to this property and cash flow it. I said, and by the time you're out in 20 years from the military, you could retire a millionaire just from the assets you have.
Yep.
Because you can just keep buying and turning. And after a year of renting it out, it doesn't even count your debt, DTI, and keep on rolling it over.
Yep.
It's like, holy crap, dude, I never thought about that.
Yep. Yeah, that's the type of stuff where it's like, we just need to be having those conversations. And so what I would highly recommend is that when you guys have that quarterly touch pop up, like here's kind of your list of things you can go, which one of these am I going to try to do this quarter? Like on that deeper touch. Like knowing that Relevate has kind of that baseline 36 touch campaign covered. So no one in your sphere, if they're on the 36 touch campaign, should not know that you're in real estate. And they should have the impression you're good at your job on a baseline simply from the automated stuff we're doing on your behalf. But don't let that be enough or else you'll never maximize stuff from your sphere. So at least once a quarter, and I would argue if you could try to do it monthly, that would be great. I would say choose one of these things and try to go deeper with your sphere. Say I'm going to send them a CMA this quarter because I haven't done that in a while. Or say I'm going to reach out about that interest rate email a few weeks ago and I'm going to reach out. Or maybe it's I haven't asked them this in a while, so I'm just going to say, hey, you want to go get coffee and I'm going to bring up the real estate goals conversation and just get on the same page about that. Yeah, so that would be my encouragement.
How much HomeBot costs?
HomeBot is like $50 a month, something like that. If you partner with a lender, I think it's $50 a
Oh, you
month.
have to partner with a lender?
For $50, but you don't have to partner with a lender, but it's like $150 or something.
Yeah, I get HomeBot from Tom, like when I bought through Tom, so I get that. I think it really does open up some decent conversations. Obviously, I think a CMA would be better, but I think we can also accomplish something similar by setting up people on sold alerts. We could also do that
It's
too.
like, hey, do you just want to watch this once a month for your neighborhood to see what's going on here?
Yeah.
So we could also say, here's all the homes that sold, like, because then that also gives them the same idea, a range of what their value's worth, you know. The one thing I don't love about HomeBot is it just tells them a value, and it's almost never been true for my house.
Yeah.
It's
It's
very off. Like, and then all of a sudden 2 months ago, like it jumped up $60,000. I was like, man.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like, because I had it for a little while too, and it pulls a lot of data from like Zillow and Trulia and, you know, not actual like data. And then it takes like not county data, but for like the loan, it doesn't even really put that in for 30 to 60 days after they buy a house. And so
I think the important idea is HomeBot or sold alerts or whatever. The idea is we want something that's lightly adding value and staying in touch with them. But the important thing is to go past that. And so the important thing is once a quarter or every once in a while, you're reaching out and you say, hey, did you see that email I sent a couple of weeks ago? That home right next to you, that's your same floor plan that just sold for $500,000. Like your value's really going up right now. And so the important thing is regardless of what you do, level it up with those deeper conversations by following up. I think that's one of the important things there. So, all right, so here's kind of my next steps for you guys. I got three points. Okay, number one, make sure your people are freaking tagged LocalMet so that they can get the touches that the team is sending out. Okay, so make sure your sphere is tagged LocalMet. And if you don't feel like you have a big sphere, then be intentional about growing your sphere. Go join community groups or church groups or hangouts or mom groups or whatever. Like, be intentional about growing that sphere of influence.
You can join a mom group.
She's in a mom group. You could be in a mom group.
She's
I
as much of a mom as you are.
I'm Mrs. Doubtfire.
As long as you're wearing a baby on the front of you, I think you're pretty good. You can wear a cowl on the front of you.
This is not my baby.
I'll put Tyler Turley in it.
Yeah.
Tyler Turley in it.
Okay, so that's number one. Tag your people LocalMet. Make sure your people are getting the touches the team is sending out. This is like included in what you're paying us is for us to do this for you. So let us do it for you. And then work to add to that every single month or every single year or whatever. Secondarily, when those quarterly touches are coming up, every single quarter, choose something from this list and do that. Go deeper, give them more value, do something more relational, do something beyond just what's normally happening every time that quarterly touch pops up. Choose one of these things and do that, because if you guys let the team do what it does and then you do that once a quarter with everyone in your sphere, I promise, like, you're going to be doing really, really well.
So on that list, you've got like CMA, so kind of follow up on a deeper touch of what we're doing, real estate goals, and then a relational touch. So that's kind of the list that was compiled. Yep.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of the things we talked about too, like it's that sending out that email, CMA, it's the hey, have you thought about buying an investment property? But those are those like advice next level stuff that if you could do that once a quarter.
Yeah, I'm kind of grouping that under real estate goals.
Yeah, we'll develop this list and send it out for you guys. So
I think even like watching people when you start hearing their elderly parents and helping with their end of life transitional plans, you know, transitioning from into nursing homes, needing to sell houses, death, estate sales, and all that crap.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, so there's a lot of options, but it's basically me saying when that pops up, pause, and don't just say, have I talked to these people in the past quarter? It's, have I done this valuable advice, real estate-based touch in the past quarter? If I haven't, let me do that. That's going to level this up. And then the third thing that I'm going to ask is I'm going to say, right now, so regardless of that rhythm of those first two things, we have sent out a bunch of different touches this month and will over the next couple weeks to your sphere. Beginning of this month, we sent out an email about interest rates. The middle of this month, we sent out a newsletter that included information about the fact that we are hiring an ISA and real estate agents. We posted on our Facebook page about hiring for an ISA. We sent out text and email invites about our movie night. That's 5 different things. Yep, and so that's at least 5 different things. I want you guys to choose one of those things and go do a deeper touch to a lot of your sphere on one of those things. And so maybe it is like, maybe it is taking that ISA position that we posted, or taking that newsletter blog that we sent out and then posting that on Facebook and saying, hey guys, we're hiring, would love, if you guys have any interest or you guys want a career in real estate, come, let us know. It's not just about pushing for the team. It's about you offering something of value and letting them know you're in real estate.
Yeah, career.
Yeah, right. Maybe you're following up on the interest rates and you're saying, guys, interest rates are at historic lows, and so you need to be thinking about refining if you haven't.
That's something we haven't talked about, but I think thinking too about like adding value, like knowing people in your sphere that you're like, man, you'd be good at real estate.
100%.
So like recruiting.
Yeah.
Recruiting can add.
I think we forget about that a lot because we're just kind of doing our thing. But like one of the most
thinking about bigger business.
Exactly. One of the most valued things that you could do is you could tell someone, hey, I think you'd be great at real estate. Like getting them into a career in real estate that could change their life. Of course, that's a valuable touch to them, right? And even if they don't get into real estate, no one's going to be upset that you said you thought they'd be great at real estate, and so that's a valuable touch either.
How dare you?
You have that talk. We're starting a new class on September 5th.
September 5th.
Licensing here.
Licensing.
I'm teaching it.
Ben Diaz is going to do
Getting
it.
your license. Just coffee, don't sleep.
Right.
Just
So
push
are
through.
you like teaching the
Correct.
new,
Free licensing.
like the whole classes, not just like a hey introduction?
Yeah, like the whole pre-licensing.
You're doing it now because Jim didn't want to.
Wait, you're teaching it? That's cool.
Okay. Step it
I have
up.
a guy for you.
Step it up
Ben
to the
Diaz,
plate.
He's gonna sign up.
Wow.
Really check it out then.
But-
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, they come to our school. We sign up and
Dude,
get
that's cool.
a profit share. Make sure we know that you're fertile.
So what are the 3 things? What are your 3 pieces of homework? Number 1,
Tag local net.
Tag local net.
tag freaking, the word freaking is there somewhere. Freaking tag your people local met. Yep. Number 2,
Make sure they're getting the touches.
Make sure you're touching them.
touching them
All over.
Grip on
deeply
them.
Touch
once
them.
every 90 days.
Touch them every
When
quarter.
I think about you, I touch myself. Okay. Yes, that's correct. And 3,
Going deeper.
Go even deeper. Deeper.
Let's go deeper
Yes.
on your drip.
Yes. But in all seriousness,
Yeah, we're done.
all right. I think our discussion on
Is anybody on Zoom?
touching. No, not a single person joined on Zoom.
Wow. For all of you.
Guys, here's the deal. Not a single person joined, so I was talking to myself on the computer the whole time, but I did record it so that I could send it out.
Oh, you record this? So why did I come? Should have a new question.
We always record, bro.
Gonna ask
Bro,
before
bro.
I did it.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Sweet.
Thank you. If you guys need ideas, like mastermind around it. But yeah, let's do it.
Love it.
Thank you all for being here today.
Yeah, thank everyone for being here today.
Do you want to stop cloud recording? If yes, you'll receive an email notification.